live on YouTube or Instagram or any of these sort of platforms, but just going to give it a try and see what happens. So if you are watching live, please leave a message in the comments or in the chat, to beg your pardon. And if not, you can always leave a comment later on. If you enjoy this sort of content, please let me know, and with a like and subscribe and a share, so I know to continue making this sort of content. So something that I've been seeing a lot with the clients that I deal with is, they get a bit hung up about the diet and how things are going through the cuts. And before I continue, let me just introduce myself. My name is Robert Dos Ramos. I am a performance and nutrition coach. I've been helping, men 35 plus and women lose body fat and gain muscle mass, and then also learning how to keep and maintain their new physique, and also striving to be as healthy as possible. Usually when we're going after these results, health is the first priority, and then the fat loss and muscle building actually sort of follows suit after. So I've been doing this for a while now, and we've been doing, pretty successful so far, and really enjoying the process and helping a lot of people as we go along. So let's continue on what I was trying to say in the beginning before I forgot to do my intro. Basically, what I find a lot of people are actually struggling with is that they get to a point where they are really resilient, or they're really getting stuck with the concept of the diet, especially in the cutting phase. And a lot of the times I hear the clients turning around and saying, I can't do this for the rest of my life. There's just no ways I can maintain eating this way. So when we're helping our clients with fat loss, we're going through a whole process of either, dropping calories, which is the first port of call, upping steps, potentially doing doing some sort of fasting, whatever tools we need to use, and whatever tools really agree with our clients to actually get them progress. And when we're throwing all of these things at them, they seem to be not overwhelmed, but they start getting worried. So for example, say if I've got a client and we started off with, say, 2,200 calories. As we go along, we decide now we need to drop the calories because you've leveled up now and you've reached that point where that calories is just not going to cut it anymore. So we'll drop it down to, say, 2,000. A couple of weeks later, we need to go down again. So it's now 1,800. And now the calories are starting to get really, really low. And then we say, okay, fine, not a problem. We're actually going to now throw in a fast. So we're going to fast once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on where we need to go. And this becomes a lot of restriction for the client and for anybody, really, and myself included. Would be way too much. And when you start the dieting process, or when you're working with a coach, you start thinking to yourself, I can't live like this. There's just no ways I'm going to be able to maintain this level of calorie restriction for the rest of my life. Because you don't want to be dropping all that body fat and then putting it back on. That's what we're trying to avoid. And then a lot of people either decide, well, I'm not going to do this anymore, and quit, or they keep pushing it out, and maybe they part ways with a coach for whatever reason, and then they just keep driving themselves down with this low calories, realizing it's not obtainable, and then they just start eating again and just balloon up straight away because they just go right back to their old eating habits. So why I'm doing this video is to say that this is not how it works. All right. Basically, we go through a phase where we're dropping body fat as much as possible, and as healthy and as fast as possible, but as healthy as possible. And when we get to the point where, we're dropping calories, this is not where you're going to be staying for the rest of your life. This is not how much food or the fasting that you need to eat for the rest of your life in order to maintain that new weight that you've required. We drop the body because we need to force the body to actually burn that body fat. Okay. So if we're trying to get the body to say, okay, well, we've got no food coming in, get our reserves out, which is the body fat, and burn it as quickly as possible so we can keep our metabolism going, so we can keep our BMR, which is our basal metabolic rate, which is basically how much calories we need to function. So that means like to keep our heart beating, the brain working, the lungs working, etc. So we force the body down. We have to force the body to burn that body fat. Now, when you've reached your target weight, your calories go back up. So your calories will go to your new BMR rate. Okay, so we've got your basic metabolic. So we actually push your calories to your basic metabolic rate, and then we'll go higher on your activity level. So automatically your calories are going to jump up between 500 to sometimes 1,000 calories up to maintain that weight. So when you're going into a cut or when you're going into a deficit, this is not going to be what it's like for the rest of your life. Definitely not. What's basically going to happen is that you're going to get to a point where you've cut all the weight that you need to do. Now we're going to maintenance. Now we're just going to keep the system running. And that's going to be a lot more calories. And going into maintenance is far easier than staying in a cut or staying in a bulk, or whatever the case may be. Because now you've got your baseline, you know how much food you need. So you just stay there. And that's how much. Now, if you want to go ahead and you want to start bulking, so you want to add a bit more muscle mass, you're going to need to eat a bit more food, start training differently, probably higher frequency training, and going through that process of actually learning how to get your body to function. But if it's just, I want to maintain this weight, I'm happy with this weight, I'm quite comfortable, maintenance is a breeze. Maintenance is, I've got to eat more food than I was when I was cutting, but not more that I'm going to put on body fat again. So let's say, for example, you got down to 1,800 and your maintenance level is about 2,700, which is almost 1,000 calories more food. All you got to do is stick to those calories and you're not going to put on more body fat. It's as simple as that. Unless you wreck your insulin somehow, or you're just eating sugar all the time and you get yourself into a diabetic state because you push your pancreas too hard. Very, very different story. But generally, you're not going to be able to put on much body fat if you're not overeating. And if you stay active and you continue to train in the gym, you'll be fine and you won't have any of those sort of issues. Okay. And that's the big thing. It's not the be all and end all, whatever your beginning calories were. That's just a phase. We often say that you only need to do the cut once and then you're done. Because once we get rid of all that excess body fat, the most important thing any coach should be teaching you is how to go and maintain your new physique, how to keep that new weight that you got or that level of body fat that you have, and make sure that you maintain from that point onwards. It's not a matter of you keep dieting and just drain yourself, because being in a calorie deficit, there's going to be a lot of other hormonal issues that you're going to be having. So for men, testosterone is going to go down, estrogen is going to go down. For ladies, cortisol levels are going to elevate, your thyroid is going to slow down, your metabolism is going to slow down. So you can't sustain that level of calories. You need to bump it up. So I just wanted to get that, just do a really quick live video on that, and just let people know that, during these phases, it's just a quick phase that we need to repair however many years of bad eating you've done. When you're looking at how long it's going to take you to lose that weight versus how long you've been eating like that, it's a much shorter period. So always take that into consideration. You're not going to be staying at that level of body fat for the rest of, or that level of food for the rest of your life. It's just for the process of getting rid of the body fat. And once we've gotten through that process, we go through your maintenance where we even up your food, possibly even more than you've eaten before. Still keeping the foods relatively healthy, not really a great word I like to use, but eating more farm-grown foods or more farm foods more frequently, and less processed foods less frequently. So you can still have your processed foods or your cheat meals, but just not as often. That's where the trick comes in, is decreasing the frequency of those bad foods and increasing the frequency of the good foods. So I hope this was helpful. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment down below and leave a like. And let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover on these sort of videos. I want to try and do this once a week, even if I get no one watching me live. It's something I want to try and explore and just see if there's anything that can be of value. And if you find that there's a topic that you'd like me to cover, leave it in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to cover it next week and take it from there. So thanks so much for your time. And that's pretty much me. So I'm going to end the stream here. God bless, take care, and I'll speak to you all soon.